I'm Amy.
And I'm Tom. We're here every day diving into the most impactful insights from the sources you share with us.
That's right. And today, like every Wednesday, we're doing a deep dive into a topic we know many of you are passionate about: personal finance, investments, and, well, that exciting journey towards financial freedom.
Yeah, it's a big one. Our source today is really insightful. It's a firsthand account from a successful entrepreneur. He offers this unique kind of battle-tested perspective on not just how to build wealth, but maybe more importantly, how to get to, genuine personal liberty.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the practical strategies and also those essential mindset shifts you'll need to navigate the path to real financial independence.
Mm.
And it's based on someone who's actually done it, lived it. We're trying to get beyond just theory here.
Straight from the trenches.
Right. So let's kick things off with the core idea. The source really champions true freedom. It sounds like it's more than just having a big bank account, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's a crucial distinction he makes.
It seems like it's about having choice and purpose sort of woven into your life.
Precisely. The source emphasizes that money is just a method, a tool to achieve specific goals. True freedom, as he describes it, means having enough capital that's generating income, enough to significantly cover your living costs.
Okay, so it pays the bills, basically.
Right. And that frees you up.
Yeah.
It means you could work maybe 20 hours a week instead of 50, or even just 5 hours, doing exactly what you love. It allows for like extended vacations for sports or reading, hobbies, whatever it is, because you choose to work, not because you have to.
That freedom of choice, that's powerful.
It really is. It's about wielding that power of choice in, the significant parts of your life.
Okay, so with that definition in mind, our source makes this really bold claim right at the start.
Mm-hmm.
He says the easiest, most direct way to become what he calls a rentier, someone living off investments or their business without daily grind, is by building your own business.
Yeah, that's the core argument.
So why? Why does he think that entrepreneurial path is the most direct route?
Well, he backs it up with some pretty stark statistics. They really underscore this point. He states that approximately 85% of people who actually achieve this rentier status, this genuine financial independence.
85%.
Yeah, 85%. They do it through building their own businesses. It's an overwhelming majority.
Wow. That really does suggest a dominant pathway.
It does.
But, okay, what about the traditional route? Employment. What's the ceiling there, according to the source?
Well, that's where it gets tougher.
He claims that even if you're like a super specialist, a top corporate employee,
Yeah.
once you hit a certain salary level, the cost you represent to your employer gets so high,
Right.
they start looking for alternatives, or you just hit a kind of wall you can't seem to get past.
Exactly. And to make it concrete, he gives this example from Poland, but it applies broadly. Even the top 1% of earners there, making roughly the equivalent of, say, $100,000 US annually.
Which is a great salary in most places.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they'd need to save all of their earnings for 2.5 years.
All of it.
All of it, just to buy one average-size apartment. It really shows the limited scalability, even with high salaries when you think about buying significant assets.
That puts it in perspective.
And he goes further. He reveals that only about 0.1%, that's 1 in 1,000 employees.
1 in 1,000.
Yes, staggeringly rare, ever reach those highest levels of true financial freedom through employment. These are usually exceptional people like bank presidents, CEOs of huge corporations.
All right, the very top tier.
Exactly. And the force points out they often pay a really heavy price: health, family relationships. After 20, 30 years of that intense, nonstop work, their path is often filled with immense personal sacrifice. It just highlights how rare and demanding it is to get there through employment alone.
Those numbers really do paint a picture. So building a business sounds like it has way more upside potential. But let's be real, it also sounds incredibly risky to most people. And the source doesn't shy away from that, does he? He gives what he calls a cold shower warning about entrepreneurship.
He does. And it's true. It's definitely not for everyone. He's very clear about the tough reality. He points out significant failure rates. In Poland, for instance, between 40% and 70% of new businesses fail in the first 12 months.
40 to 70%, that's a huge range, but even the low end is high.
It is. He suggests we can probably assume around 50% as a general figure for new ventures.
Okay, half fail in year one. What about longer term?
Well, after 5 years, only about 30% to 44% survive. So let's say an average of roughly 36, 37%.
So only about a third make it past 5 years. Those are pretty sobering numbers if you're thinking of starting something.
They are. And it gets even more specific when you talk about actually growing the business, not just surviving. Among those firms that do make it 5 years, only maybe 10% to 20% grow to employ more than 5 people.
Only 10 to 20% of the survivors?
Right. Now, he does acknowledge that with modern ways of working, like B2B contracts where you might use freelancers or other small firms,
Oh,
that number might be closer to 25%. So let's run the math quickly.
okay.
You start with maybe 36, 37% surviving 5 years. Then you take roughly 25% of those. It means you end up with about a 9% chance, roughly, of building a company that has at least 6 people plus 5 employees.
9%. That's a very practical way to look at the odds of actually scaling something significant.
It cuts through the hype, doesn't
It
it?
does.
Yeah.
So let's weigh these realities then. You've got roughly a 9% chance of building a substantial business versus that tiny base 0.1% chance of becoming that super successful employee reaching true financial freedom.
Yeah.
So the source boils this down to, 90 to 1 odds in favor of entrepreneurship.
That's the stark comparison he makes, 90 to 1.
Wow, that's a massive difference when you frame it like that.
And his own journey, the source's life story, it really illustrates this path. He describes his early life as a kind of sinusoid wave, Started privileged, then a painful fall when his parents' business struggled.
Right.
Worked multiple really difficult student jobs. He actually vowed never to be an entrepreneur like his parents because of that.
Oh, interesting. So what changed his mind?
Well, the sheer disparity in income, eventually. His corporate job as a sales director was earning him, say, 15,000 PLN a month. But he saw his side agency work generating 100,000 PLN from his efforts.
That's a huge difference. Hard to ignore.
Exactly. The potential was just undeniable. So he jumped in, quickly built a successful advertising agency. It reached 21 million PLN in revenue, about 50 employees, by the time he was 29.
Impressive growth.
Very. And then from there, he diversified into tax advisory, real estate, books, even anti-aging supplements. And many of those now operate without his direct day-to-day involvement. That's the rentier part. He built a portfolio.
Quite a story indeed. So, given those odds and his own journey, what specific skills does he highlight? What's absolutely essential for aspiring entrepreneurs?
Okay, number one skill, especially right at the start, when you're building,
Yeah.
it's sales.
Sales.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Nothing happens without a sale.
Exactly. He emphasizes that sales teaches you profound things.
Yeah.
Openness, how to genuinely listen, how to sense what another person needs, and critically, how to build those long-term trusting relationships. He even recommends the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. Says it's a perfect guide for how to work effectively, how to attract clients. Really highlights those foundational skills.
Okay, so sales is key to get started. What about once the business starts to grow? Beyond just you, what's the next big hurdle?
Then it's delegation. The ability to delegate effectively.
Right, the I can do it better myself trap.
Precisely. So many entrepreneurs fall into that, and it becomes a huge bottleneck to growth. If you want to scale beyond being just a micro business, you must learn to fight that instinct. You have to hand over responsibilities effectively.
Otherwise, you become the ceiling for your own business.
You got it. You're the limit.
Okay, so skills are crucial. But the source also really emphasizes mindset. Let's dive into that a bit. He brings up the classic marshmallow experiment.
Yeah, the marshmallow test.
What's the relevance there for entrepreneurs? Why is that idea so important?
Well, it perfectly illustrates the importance of delayed gratification. For entrepreneurs, this means understanding that profits, especially in those early years, often need to be reinvested straight back into the company for growth.
Not taken out for personal spending immediately.
Right. You can't just pull it all out. He shares that in his own agency, owner payouts were delayed by like a year and a half.
A year and a half. Wow.
Yeah, because all the capital, all the cash was needed to finance that rapid growth, to secure new contracts. So that ability to delay your own reward for the sake of the business's future, that's a hallmark of successful entrepreneurial thinking, according to him.
That's a tough lesson, I imagine. He also really stressed that building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. Today, you hear so many stories of overnight success. Why is adopting that long-term view so critical for, genuine, lasting freedom?
It's such a vital warning against that quick money mentality. Rushing into large sums, especially if it's unearned wealth like lottery wins or speculation, It often leads to mental unpreparedness.
You're not ready for it.
Exactly. And that frequently results in, well, financial ruin, loss of relationships too. He gives these vivid examples like Michael Carroll won $10 million at 19.
Oh, I remember that story.
Yeah, tragically spent it all on parties, drugs, within 11 years, ended up as a garbage collector.
Such a waste.
Or Bob Harrell won $31 million, financially ruined, buying homes and cars for relatives, just couldn't manage it.
Right.
These aren't just, sad lottery stories. They underscore a key entrepreneurial point. Building the mindset and the discipline to manage wealth is just as important as building the wealth itself.
So it's about cultivating that financial maturity alongside the capital.
Absolutely. Understanding that sustainable growth takes time, deliberate action. It's not instant.
And counterintuitively, perhaps, he also warns against having too much personal money too soon. That seems odd, doesn't it?
It really does seem counterintuitive at first glance.
Why would too much money be bad?
Well, he mentions that having too much cash sitting in his personal account early on actually made him lazy, less motivated.
Interesting. Complacency effect.
Kind of. And it can also lead to misdirected spending on, as he puts it, stupid things, like luxury cars, when a simple, reliable one would do just fine. He admits he did this himself, though he also drove a modest Toyota Corolla, even when he could easily afford a Ferrari, to keep himself grounded later on.
Okay.
And he shares another story about a friend, Dominic. This guy landed a huge renewable contract really early in his career. It basically satisfied his hunger too quickly.
That comfortable.
Exactly. Then, later, he lost that big contract and was effectively back at square one. Meanwhile, the source's own business, built on lots of smaller clients, kept thriving because that hunger for growth wasn't satisfied too early.
So a certain amount of that hunger or drive is actually a powerful asset.
Yeah, it seems so. It keeps you pushing.
Okay, that hunger brings us to another provocative point. Work-life balance. It's such a huge topic today. And the source seems to just challenge it head-on for early-stage entrepreneurs. I bet a lot of listeners are thinking, is that really worth it?
He absolutely does challenge it. Boldly. He states that if you want significant success quickly as an entrepreneur, especially in those first 5 to 15 years, you have to embrace, quote, the nature of a slave.
Wow, that's strong language. Nature of a slave.
It is. He says there's simply no work-life balance in that initial intense phase. You just work nonstop. You're constantly thinking about the business, even on vacation, apparently.
So it's a massive upfront sacrifice.
Totally. An often brutal sacrifice for that ultimate reward of true freedom later on. The message is pretty clear. If you want immediate work-life balance, entrepreneurship probably isn't your fastest route to major financial freedom. It's deferred gratification on a huge scale.
That commitment is immense. Okay, final point on preparation. What about formal education? Is it needed for this kind of intense journey? He had some strong thoughts here, too.
Yeah, he did. He basically says yes and no.
Okay.
While his own formal education might have helped him land his first corporate job, he found only about 5–10% of his university and MBA studies were actually useful for entrepreneurship itself.
Only 5 to 10%.
That's what he claims. In fact, he says 3 months of door-to-door cable TV sales taught him more about real sales, about interpersonal skills, than all his formal education combined.
That's telling. Practical experience trumping theory.
Right. And he argues that today, with the internet, you have access to countless books, courses, free lectures from top universities, successful entrepreneurs. The role of traditional formal education, for this path at least, is significantly diminished. What really matters is practical, real-world experience, curiosity, and that drive to apply what you learn.
Okay, this next insight really shifts the perspective, I think. He gives very specific advice on who you should listen to, and maybe more importantly, who you shouldn't. He strongly advises ignoring the advice of uncles who failed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a key point. He stresses you should actively surround yourself with and learn from people who are where you want to be in 5, 10, or 15 years.
Seek out success.
Exactly. And the internet gives incredible access now. Interviews with successful entrepreneurs, like he mentioned some prominent Polish examples like Michał Sawal, Rafał Sonik, Paweł Jarski. He also advocates reading biographies. Successful people from all sorts of fields, Cristiano Ronaldo, Will Smith, Elon Musk.
Diverse examples.
Yeah, and specific books, too. The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, The Diary of a CEO, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Atomic Habits, The Power of Irrationality.
Yeah.
The core idea is learn from those who've actually achieved what you aspire to. And actively avoid the negativity or bad advice from those who haven't walked that path.
And crucially, it's not just about consuming knowledge, right? He really emphasizes action.
Oh, completely. You
Yeah.
can read all the books, watch all the interviews,
Yeah.
but if you don't do anything,
It's useless.
exactly. Don't delay, he says. He sees the ideal period for that intense company growth phase as being between, say, 25 and 30 years old. You leverage that abundant energy you have then, combined with growing experience.
And waiting too long makes it harder.
Significantly harder, he argues, especially past 40. Priorities tend to shift. Energy levels naturally aren't quite the same. It's just tougher to build substantial wealth from scratch then. He gives examples. A friend, Patrick, who had a safety net from entrepreneurial parents, pushing him to act while you have the energy. And another, Piotrek, who actually started from bankruptcy. But he used that complete lack of a safety net as this incredibly powerful motivator to build a highly successful company.
So different circumstances, but the common thread is taking decisive action.
Exactly. Capitalizing on your energy and just getting started.
Okay, let's try and bring this all back to you, our listener. What's the practical takeaway here? The source clearly presents entrepreneurship as a path with, well, significantly higher odds of achieving true financial freedom compared to traditional employment.
Those 90-to-1 odds.
Right, but it absolutely comes with immense challenges, huge sacrifices, especially in those early years.
Yeah. So maybe the biggest question isn't really how to become financially free. It's more about whether you are truly prepared for that intense long-term commitment. Prepared for the delayed gratification, the profound mental shifts required to actually seize those 90-to-1 odds.
Or is the perceived stability of that 0.1% employment path more appealing, even knowing its limitations and the potential personal costs?
Exactly. What kind of freedom are you really seeking? And maybe more importantly, what are you authentically willing to sacrifice to get it?
That's definitely something to mull over. Wow. That's an incredibly insightful deep dive into building wealth and achieving true freedom. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, we really hope this has given you plenty to think about for your own financial journey. Maybe challenge some assumptions too.
If you found this valuable, please do make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you'll always stay up to date with our daily deep dives.
And please join us again tomorrow. As it's Thursday, we'll be talking about important figures who have changed our world. Should be fascinating. See you then.